Hi everyone, a very good evening. So in yesterday class we see how can we validate a form, and then we learn about how can we reuse the same file by using export keyword and import keyword in another file. So in today's class what we are going to learn about, uh, building reusable component with JavaScript. So our topic is creating reusable function. Let me write on here. Functions. Okay. So in today's class, we are going to learn about reusable functions. So the very first question that arises in everyone's mind is, what are reusable functions? So reusable functions are like tools in a toolbox for a programmer. They are small pieces of code that are designed to do a specific job. Just like how you might use a hammer to drive a nail or a screwdriver to tighten a screw. You use function to perform task in your code. Okay, now the question arises, how do they work? So imagine you have a recipe for making a sandwich. In that recipe, you have steps like take 2 slices of bread, put cheese on one slice and put ham on the other slice. Each step in the recipe is like a function. You can follow these steps to make one sandwich, and then you can follow them again to make another sandwich. So in this way also we are going to code. We are making one function and again we are going to use the same function for making another like same thing. So why are they useful like reusable functions? So reusable function make your code easier to understand and manage. Instead of writing the same code over and over again for a similar task, you can create a function that does the job once and then reuse it whenever you need to perform that task again. So what happened by reusing the function, it will save time and make your code more efficient. So now you got my point. Reusable function and component are essentials in programming as they allow us to write code once and use it multiple times. So here I'm going to give you practical example for reusable function so that you understand clearly. Suppose now, as of now, just suppose we need to calculate the area of a rectangle. I will show you as well by doing coding, but as of now, you have to suppose we need to calculate the area of rectangle in various part of our code. Okay. So instead of writing the formula for area of calculation every time we need it, we can create a reusable function to handle this task. Don't worry, I will show you how. For example, we know area of rectangle length into breadth, and if we have a different value for different time, so instead of writing the same formula again, we are going to use the same formula for different values. Okay, so let me show you how can we do that. So here the topic is reusable functions to calculate the area of a rectangle. Okay. Okay. Now here I'm going to make a function. Now you know how can we make a function, how can we create a function. For creating a function, we have to use a function keyword as yesterday also we use, and name it calculate area. Okay. Calculate area. Use parenthesis, and after that we have to use curly bracket, and inside curly bracket we execute our code that we are going to perform on screen. So here what we want, like as you know, what is the formula of area of rectangle? Length into breadth. So here I'm going to written length into breadth, we can call width. Okay. Now we have length and breadth. Now the same thing I need to pass here also. I will tell you why. Length and then we have a width. Okay. Now what I am going to do, we make a function with the name calculate area, and we have written the formula of area of rectangle, that is length into breadth. Now here I am going to use this using the function to calculate area. We have to give value, some value as well. So here I am going to give value for area. Let's suppose we have a area 1, and for area 1 we have a length. Like, first of all we have to calculate area. This function we have to call it outside, calculate area, and we have a parenthesis. What we call, we keep parenthesis, and whatever the parameter we pass here, we need to pass the value here. For length, whatever the value you want to pass, let's suppose here I am passing 5 for length. Then another we have parameter, that is width, and here I am going to pass the value. uh, you can pass anything. Here I am going to pass 3. Okay, now in a same way you can take lots more area with different value. Let me copy the same line and paste it below, and now this time the variable name for the second one is area 2, and I need to change this. For example, this time we have a area length is 15 and width is 30. So in this way you can write down lots of variable with different length or width. So now I'm going to console it for seeing that whether the calculation is correct or not. So console basically we use for development purposes. So here also I'm going to use console.log. Console.log. Inside that I'm going to write area 1. So as you already know, for getting this value we have to print this here. So let me write here area 1, and if you want to print anything inside string, that will show on your screen. So for that what you have to do, you have to put that value in string area. Let me write A in capital. Area 1 is, then you have to put comma, and this area 1 will give you the this value, the calculate area value, and this is the string that you are able to see on console so that you can understand. This is for area 1. uh, this is the area of rectangle for area 1. Okay, so in this way you can call the another one as well, and here you have to simply put area 2, and you have to change this variable. This time we need area 2. Okay, fine. So in this example, we calculate area, we have a calculate area function, and it's a reusable function that calculate the area of a rectangle. We can call this function with different length and width values to calculate area for different rectangle. You can write it so many value. We create a function only for one time, and we are giving two values for finding the same thing with the same formula that is written in a single function. So in this way, if you have a lots of value, then you no need to create a function so many times. You have to call it for once and use that function at multiple times. So let me save this file and I will show you. Okay, let me open live server first. Now let me open the console. For opening the console, what we have to do, we have to click on inspect, and here we have a console. Let me do one thing. Okay, 1 minute. Let me spit it out. Okay, now it's fine. Let me make the screen bigger because we are going to see the value. Okay, fine, don't worry. Okay, now you can see we have a area 1. As you know, length into breadth, it means 5 into 3. So 5 into 3 is 15. So area 1 is 15 and area 2 is 195. So in this way you can calculate lots of area with single function. Okay, so this is called a reusable function. So now you got my point. Reusable function and component are essential in programming as they allow us to write code once and use it multiple times. As you can see on screen, we write a function for one and use it so many times. If you write different area and you need the value of that, simply you have to use console.log and print that value. For example, let area 3 equal to, then again we have to call this function. Okay, so here I am calling the same function, that is calculate area, and inside parenthesis we have the parameter length or width that we had to pass it in number form. So 12 and 10. Okay, Save this. Okay. Okay, let me reload the page. Okay, we are not consoling the third one. So let me console that. Then only we are able to see on console.log. Here we have a area 3 is, then we put comma and print this variable, that is area 3. Now let me save this file. Now you are able to see on the screen area 3 is 120. In this way you can reuse your code several times. So now after that we are going to understand modularity and separation of concern. Okay. Now you can understand how can we reuse function. In the same way we can make a common function and use it several times. Now the next topic is 1 minute. Understanding modularity and separation concern. For understanding this, we break it down into two parts. First, we understand what is modularity, and then we go on separation concern. Okay. So now we are going to understand a modularity and separation of concern. So let's start with modularity. What is modularity? Imagine you are building a car. Instead of trying to build the entire car all at once, you break it down into smaller parts like the engine, wheels, and seats. Each part has its own job and you can work on them independently. Modularity in programming is like that. You break your code into smaller manageable pieces, each doing its own specific task. This makes it easier to understand and work with your code. Okay, now you understand what is modular. We break our work and do it independently so that it is easy to understand. Now, next what we have separation concern. We understand modularity. Simply, modularity is breaking down the task and so that it is easy to understand for others. Now, what is the meaning of separation concern? You can understand separation concern like this. Think of your room at home. Okay, you have different areas for sleeping, studying, and playing. Each area serves different purpose and you keep them separate so they don't get mixed up. So separation of concern in programming is similar. By word itself you can understand separation of concern. It's about keeping different part of your code separate and focus on their own jobs. For example, you might have one part of your code that handles storing data, another part that handles displaying it, and another part that deals with user interaction. Like here also you can see we have three files: index.html, CSS, and then JavaScript. And three have different role, but they if they mix together, they make a beautiful web page. Index.html is help in creating the structure of a web page, whereas CSS make it more interactive and attractive. Okay, and JavaScript, on the other hand, plays a crucial role while handling all the things like on clicking on button, what will happen when we navigate to other page. These all things are handled by JavaScript. In the same way, separation of concern also work. Like some part is handling storing data, another part that handle displaying it, and another part that deals with user interaction. This way, each part of your code has a clear job and it's easier to understand and manage. Okay. Now the question arises, why are they useful? So as you understand, like modularity, we have modularity. Modularity, what it will do, breaking your code into smaller part, making it easier to understand and work with. So instead of dealing with a huge complicated block of code, you can focus on one part at a time. So it will make your work easy and you are focused clearly on that. This also make it easier to reuse code. These all are the advantages why they are useful. If you have a piece of code that does something useful, you can use it multiple places without having to write it all over again. So modularity also help. Now, um, Imagine, like, I'm giving you the practical example related to tag only. Imagine you are building a simple website. You might have separate files or modules for handling different things. One for managing user account, another for displaying content, and another for handling interaction like button click and navigation and all. Each part of your code has its own job, and they all work together to make the website function. So this make it easier to understand and update your code as your website grows and change over time. So modularity and separation of concern involves breaking down code into smaller, independent module or component, each responsible for a specific task. Don't worry, here I'm going to give you a practical example by doing code so that you can understand clearly. Let's start. So we are going to do calculation module. Okay, how can we? Here I'm going to take variable with let keyword, let, and give some name. Name should be calculation module only. Okay, module. Okay, now here I'm going to create a function inside inside parenthesis. And how can we create a function? Then we have to write some name. We don't have name, so that's why I take parenthesis, and inside that I'm taking another parenthesis and curly bracket. Okay, now here I'm going to write function to calculate area, that only area of rectangle only. Okay, so how can we write that? So here I'm going to make another function, and this time I'm going to name function that is calculate area. Calculate area. Okay, if it will affect, we will comment it out. Calculate area, and inside parenthesis we are going to here we can do one thing. For a while we are going to uncomment it because I don't know the variable name. Okay, fine, no worry. We have a calculate area, and inside we have to put curly bracket, and inside that only we execute our code. So let me pass length and breadth, width. Okay, fine. Length and width. Then here I'm going to written what? The formula of area of rectangle written, that is length into width. Okay. Now here after this also I'm going to written. I will tell you what I'm doing here. Here only I'm going to written. Okay, we have a okay, fine. No, 1 minute. Okay, here we are going to written again. This time we are going to written calculate area. Okay, the function that we are calling here, calculate area, this one that we are calling here. Calculate area is calculate area. Okay, why I'm calling this? And again I need to call like one, there are two function as you can see. For one function for calculation module, then we have a calculate area, so we need to call that as well. So for calling this I'm using this parenthesis. So this create a module for calculating area. You can see inside there's a function that is called calculate area. Okay, that takes length and width as a input and returns their product. As we know the formula, length into width, which is the area. So the module returns an object. As you can see, object we can write in key values pair, as I already taught you in previous class. So this module returns an object with calculate area function expose. So what happened while using this, other part of the code can use it again. We are simply exporting it so that we can reuse it again. Okay, now what I am going to do, here I'm going to make another variable with name display model. We have to display it as well. So let display module. So how can we display? In the same way, we have to pass function, and inside function we have to take another function as well. So we are taking function with name displayed in the same way that we do above. Function display area. Okay. So what we have to display here, we pass a input field as a length or width. Here what we have to display area. So we pass area. Okay. And then we will console. We need, okay, fine. Console. What we want what we want as an output. We want area. Definitely we want area of a rectangle. Whatever the value we are going to give below, that value we want as an area. Okay. So here I'm going to consoling that area. Okay. So the variable that we use as a parameter here, area. So we have to, so let me pass as a string area is, and then we have to pass this value that we pass in parameter. Okay, area. Fine. Now we have to return also. What we have to return? Display area. The way we are returning calculate area, in the same way we have to return display area. And we are calling two function inside display module. So that's why we are passing this parenthesis here for calling that function. Now let me written display area in object. So in object we use key value pair. Here also I'm going to use key value pair. This is my display area. I'm going to call it out here, and then again I'm calling display area. Okay, fine. So this creates a module for displaying area. Inside, you can see there is a function like above one with the name display area, and that logs the area to the console. Whatever the area we are going to get, this is we are going to see here in our console. Okay. The module returns an object as you can see below, like the above one that we do above. So it returns an object with the display area function exposed, like we can, so that we can use in other part of the code, so that it can make it we can make it reusable. Now let me make one more variable. Now we have to assign value to our length and breadth for checking like it's working fine or not. So let area 1, okay, for area 1, how can we write the value? We have a main function with name calculation module. We need to call this calculation module. Inside calculation module, what we have? Calculation area. Okay. So let me call. How can we write an object by putting dot? We as you already see above. Let me show you that also. How we are creating an object. For example, this is our object with the name app. So if I have to call this, how I am calling app.app name, app.app category name. In this way, we are getting this value on our screen. So in the same way here also, I'm writing this variable name and calling this calculate area. Okay. So here I'm going to pass calculate area. Okay. Inside calculate area, we need to pass two parameter with length or width, two inputs. So whatever you want to write, this time I'm going to write 10 into 5, so that we know 10 into 5 is 50. Okay, 10 or 5. 10 is our length, 5 is our width. And let's check it's working fine or not. Okay, we haven't console. Okay, we are not displaying this. Okay, let me display that also. So here I'm going to display module. We have another as well, display module dot, what we have to display area. Okay. So here also in the same way as you are assigning object, like as you have to print object value, how you can do, you can write the variable name first, then you have to write the value, you have to write the what we call the thing that you want, you have to write that property name. So here we need display area. Okay. and inside that you have to pass which value you want, area. Okay, area, this area you want. Okay, you have to pass that as well. Area one value you want, sorry, this you want to display, isn't it? Because here we do calculation. So let me write area 1. Fine. Let me save this. Now you are going to get area as 50. So let's suppose if you have different value. So let me copy this only. And here we have a area 2. Okay. Inside area 2, change the value as 20 into 20 or 10. Okay. 20 as a length or 10 as a breadth. Okay, let me display that as well. Copy the same line and paste it below. Display module, display area for what? Area 2 variable. Okay, let me save this. Now you are getting area 2. Okay, so this line calculate the area. This line, display module, calculate the area using the calculate area function from the calculation module. Okay. So they display the calculated area using the display area function from the display module. In simple term, the calculation module calculate area and the display module show them. And the rest of the code uses these module to get the job. Then simply you can use it again and again. Each module does its own thing, and they work together to make the code organized and easy to understand. Okay. Now, if you have to implement the same code in a best way or organizing way of JavaScript code, so for that, what you can do? You have to write the same code like this only, but you can do like if you need in a organized way or in a best practice way. So for that, what you can do? For example, here we have a first variable name with calculation module. Then we are returning length into width. Then we are calling this function with calculate area. Then in other, we are displaying a module. So how we are displaying our modules? In the same way that we are doing above in our object pair. And we are displaying our area in a written part. Okay. Now here we have a let area calculation module. Let me comment it out for a while. We can write in a best way. Okay. Let me comment it out. Now what I'm going to do, after that I'm going to again make a function like this. Let me show you. Let main module. This is a main. We are going to name main module. Not like this. This is a variable, and again we need two functions. So here function and parenthesis, and inside curly bracket we execute our code. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this one only. Let area, the thing we are doing below. Okay, let me uncomment it and copy this line, area 1 and area 2. Okay, and this one also. Copy the whole line. Okay, Control C, and let me paste it here, Control V, and comment it out for a while. Okay, so here I make one more variable, and inside it I pass function as a parameter, and we have a function, so here also we need to call that. Okay, now you can see we have a two variable, area 1 and area 2. We don't do anything, we are just copying the below code here inside the function. So basically, now you are confused what this main module do. So this is the main part of the code. The main module is the main part of the code that brings everything together. So it calculates the area of two rectangle using the calculate area function. As you can see, let me do it little above. Okay, fine. Okay, fine, no worry. So it calculates the area of two rectangles using the calculate area function from the calculation module. Then it displays the calculated area using the display area function from the display module, that you can understand. So we have separate module for calculation and display. So the main module uses the the main module uses this module to calculate and display the area of rectangle. So now each module has its own specific job, which make the code easier to understand and manage. Okay. Now hope understand. Let me show you my console as well. Let me save this file. and you're getting same output. Area is 50. You can change the value and check it as well. For example, here I'm going to change it as 30 and 20. Okay. Let me save this file. Now we get area is 600. So in this way, we can manage a code. Okay. Hope so you understand. Let's see the code for 2 minutes so that you can understand. This is an optimized way of writing the code. I'm giving you 2 minutes. See. So the topic that we cover today, creating reusable function and component and understanding the modularity and separation of concern. Then we see how can we implement best practice for organizing JavaScript code. I want to tell you some more thing. Okay, let me tell you, we have some time. Sorry. Okay, so the topic that I don't teach you, that is arrays in JavaScript. So let me give you the idea about that as well. So okay, we have time, so let's take that topic now. Then we will over with that. Okay, so first of all, what are arrays in JavaScript? Arrays are arrays are also variable, but we can store multiple values of similar data type inside arrays. It is much better to use arrays when storing values of similar data type, as it makes the process much faster and more efficient. Arrays are stored inside square bracket. I will show you. For example, var, we have a var keyword, and inside that we have a language. Okay. Language is a variable name. Languages. Okay. Now, how can we denote array with the square bracket? Okay. And inside square bracket, we have lots of languages and we give it in a string only. English. Then we have a Hindi. Okay. In string only. Okay. We are writing alphabetical character. Hindi, Telugu, and lots more. Okay. You can store many data as you want. Okay. So here you can see we have stored names of multiple languages inside a single line, which can be accessed. How can we access? Using the position of these values. In arrays, count position always begin with the position 0. For example, this is English. So this is coming on an index of 0. Then 1. And this is 2. Okay. Be remember, in arrays, count of position begin from position what? 0. This is 0, 1 and 2 and goes on like that as multiple languages. For example, let's take HTML. JavaScript is also language. So we write that as well. We have a HTML. Okay, you can write so many: JavaScript, CSS, SQL, Java. Okay, lots more. So how can we access? We know it is started with the 0 index, 0, 1, 2 and 3. For accessing it, what we are doing console dot log, and we want to check for development purpose only. We can use console dot log, and if you want to show on your web page, for that you can use document dot get element by id. Okay, and you can use tag name also. Like in yesterday class, someone is saying we can use tag name. Yeah, you can use. It's your choice, and you can use document dot write as well. It's up to you what you like to use. Now what I want to access, I want to access this Hindi language on my console. So for that, what I can do, first of all, we have to write this name languages. We need this variable. Okay. Here you can see, after writing languages, when I save my file, I got all the languages: English, Hindi, Telugu HTML and all. Now I just want sorry, I just want to access this Hindi on my console. So for that, what can I do? We know this is an array, and array of what index? We have this English is on 0 index, then Hindi is on 1 index, and we want to access 1 on our console. So simply we have to write 1. Let me save this file. Now you get Hindi only. In this way, you can access whatever the data you want to show on a console or on a web page. So this I forget to tell you. So this is the JavaScript array. Now you understand. But be remember two things: array in which we can store multiple data of any kind, whether it is number, then also we can use number as well. If you want to write number, you can use it that as well. Okay, there is no problem in it. Okay, you can access that also, 0 1 2 3 4. If you want to access 4 index of array, then you can get it like that. Okay, you can write anything inside array. Okay, so this will written the console window. Also, you must have noticed, if we had to use separate variable for storing this value, it would have required a lot of effort, and it would also increase the complexity of the program. So here we can access like this. So now you got arrays are also variable, but we can store multiple value of similar data type inside array. You can see we are storing string also, we are storing number also. So it is much better to use array when storing value of similar data type, as it makes the process much faster and more efficient. Okay. See the code and practice while doing code, then you can understand clearly. With that, I am overing the session here. You get your attendance link, so fill your attendance sheet. You have time, and then practice these things that we study today.